Good morning, everyone. This is one I was doing for my Patreon people, but I've had to cut it a bit short. We got a bit long, so I thought I'd introduce it to you on my YouTube channel. This is just a bit of practice. It was playing about and thought I would do a turn in the island. So just a small silver lake which shines to give the appearance of being silver anyway. At the beginning there I showed my cup of tea, which I have to be careful I don't put my brush into next to my water. This is a piece of paper which I've given a couple of coats of acrylic. It's an old one, been done before underneath this. So I'm going to try and do something. This is a drawing. I know this is a sketch of one I did a while ago, a watercolour painting, but I'm going to try and do this as a night painting or something like that. You know, I thought, well, I think we'll have a change on my Patreon people and just have a little bit of a difference. And I decided we'll do this as a night painting, as an experiment. I think it's good for you to try all things in art and not stick with one idea all the time. So I'm just doing a bit of a sketch, but I won't stay to this sketch in any way. I'll just this is just giving me a rough idea of what a bit of a design for the acrylic which I'm going to do. It's an old one, which so it means I don't have to copy other people's or things like that. I can just pick one of my old paintings, watercolour paintings, and I'll turn it into an acrylic. Now for this acrylic I'm just going to use black and white, that's all. Just plain black and white. And try and make it look interesting. Now you see this palette I have here, it's a butcher's tray which I've got really dirty. I put a piece of wax paper over it and then I trap it with a couple of, can you see? And then I throw it away when it's done. There's a tip for you. I shouldn't be giving you YouTubers all this thing. Well, I know I put one or two little videos on my Patreon what you can look at without having to pay or join. So I'll make them public in a way, but you can just have a look and it won't cost you anything just to look. Anyway, there we are. I've put the drawing in and I'm going to try and do something different, like some of the old black and white painters. There's the black at the top and there's the white. That's all I'm using. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to have to put a grey down here at the top for the sky. And this grey, we'll have to use a grey, not too dark, because we want to introduce other greys around it. And they want to be able to show these greys. So it's white, although this brush is an awful brush I'm using, I'll be honest. Could use a better brush. I wouldn't I'm using this Hague brush because I've nothing else really at the time. I'll have to go and look for but we've not been able to get out. I'm chancing it when I buy off the internet and things like that, and 99 times out of I get a poor brush. The size, they look so big when I ordered some the other day, which was supposed to be inch brushes, and all right. They were only a quarter of an inch. You could only have done it in miniatures with them. But what it is, they show such a great big photograph, don't they? And you look at them and say, oh, look at this size. That's the size I want. But it's not. So this is the grey I'm putting on now. It is a medium grey. And it can't be too light. We could have gone a little bit darker. But the darker you go with this, the blacker and darker you have to go with the hills in the background. So I'm struggling away with this brush. I'm passing it across and levelling it as best I can. As the acrylic, it starts to dry, doesn't it, as you're using it, can you see? So you can it starts to pull on your brush and then you can dry it off. Now there you are. So the next thing I need to do is to put in a grey for the sandy area, which is sweeping round from that background there, which the dark grey could have been a bit lower. So we're sweeping it. We'll get some grey now and sweep it round. We're not bothering with the water, or it could be a snow scene actually. I'm just sweeping now. This is in grey, but it's the sandy area that in grey. But I'm putting it in grey because I'm trying to use tonal values in this painting. Just do it with tonal values and see how it comes out. It's a good exercise to do this with some paintings, just to get you, even if it was only a box or a simple house, it gives you the tonal values. Now you see, I've not quite come far enough down there with that sky, but I'm not attempting to do it again, so I'll cheat a little bit and I'll come a bit higher with the far background, which is, I'll imagine there's some, I did start here with it. It's a little bit darker, this grey. It's a little bit darker than the grey which we've used in this as a sand colour. I'm coming across with this now. But I've decided a good idea would to turn it into a distant, say, ship repair yard or something like that. So I put a couple of derricks in with the side of the brush, just like that, see? And I'll imagine that. I'm imagining that's high again. I overlapped a little bit there with my when I was doing the editing, so I've just tried to straighten it up now. You should be able to hear me okay. I'm narrating this because this actually was a lot longer than this, so I tried to cut it down a bit. Any unnecessary wording I try to cut out. So there's I put a little side building coming out of an imaginary little cottage, say. I just imagined it being there. So I've done it before. I'm used to putting all sorts of buildings and no trouble at all. They're rather simple for me at the moment, buildings, so I just put a few buildings in here and there, now and again. I can see a little bit wrong with that, but I won't mention it. So here we are. Now I'll just put the sides in there. Not quite dark enough, can you see? A little bit darker. Now looking at the building there, I think we could have a little bit a white roof, which I'll put in later, on that little building as a moonlight in it. Well, imagine moonlight was it in it. Now here we go with I put that tree in. I'm putting it in dark, but I think probably a bit of light on one side would be necessary to get the light hitting it. We had the moon coming from the right hand side, say. You still add the shadows even with the moon, don't you? You know what I mean? There's a light I'm putting on. I need some dark over on the left hand side now, don't I? But I'll see to that in a minute. Now there you see what we're going to do next. Okay. Yes, dark it there. Very dark just from the lower part. Just to get that distance. Pretty dark though. You'd have it darker behind there, wouldn't you? Would hitting the side of the tree there, and this grassy area or bushy area with the trees would be dark on one side. But then again, you see, I'm playing about. I want some dark over next to that building, the little house. Now there sees the dark. Just for the contrast. Now, over there in the distance, you see, it's not. It's with me not bringing the sky down far enough. I'm going to have to adjust the landscape, which is hitting the so-called water, which I imagine is water there. You could put a few, it would have been better if I put a few little boats in there, just leaning in the sand, say. But this grey is the sandier area. Now the next thing they say is, one of the things, you should put a little bit of white in here. Now I'll be putting the a few tall stalks of the grasses here, which the high grasses. And your things will be changing in a minute. I'll have to come across with the sandy area and put some white into here now at the moment where I am working on those grasses. Put more white into it. Under the far distant, on top of the water area, on the right, the yellow one, I'll put a line just underneath there in dark. Meanwhile, just carry on. I'm talking about towards the end of the video. So now we'll just have to bring all the foreground in a moment. Just bring that in, bring that across to look more balanced, of course. And it's the design which I'm trying to get right. As I've said before, a good design and poor painting will make it. But a poor design and all the best painting in the world won't. See so many mistakes made. Beautiful paintings about running uphill and all kinds. They just don't have that really quality perspective they should have. They're always paint uphill and rivers running uphill and all this, and it's all about perspective. Even this is not perfect, I admit. I mean, by normal, probably the sand would be a little bit higher and not as much showing of the water. But anyway, it's the design now. You can see I've filled in with white the lake, and I'm just I think the main thing now will be I'll put a few stones in the foreground just to to make it look a little bit better. Put a few windows in. Yeah, that's it. And I've touched the trees on the edge with white, just the edges of the trees. Now the stones are quite easy to do. If you just put a bit of blob of white acrylic, put your black at the back of it, and you're made for your stonework at the foreground there. Now, in a moment I want to colour that roof in there, make it white. I know it's going to change the view of everything, but I will make it white. I think that will make a big difference. I think the colour, the grey value on the sky is okay. Should have come a bit farther down. Put in a few birds in. But yes, you would see. I was thinking you wouldn't see birds at night, but you do get gulls at night coming over. But I've made it completely plain, haven't I, that sky? Not put a cloud in showing or anything. Now can you see where I've put white on the roof? Put some more white on the lake. I hope you like that one. I'm giving you a chance of looking in.